Hello, welcome to our second and a little bit briefer developer discussion series on the Downbelow RPG. My name is Ian.
I'm Steve.
We are co-developing this role-playing game, and today we're going to tell you the basics of what this game system is.
For those of you who have been with us for a while, we've covered this already. Don't worry, we're doing a better job this time, a more concise job this time, and we felt it was time to revisit this for people who are just joining us, or people who had forgotten that yes, this is in fact a thing we talked about. No, don't worry, this isn't going to go a whole hour.
And there will be some more nuances that you might not have heard last time because we were disorganized in how we talked about it last time.
And also, we've developed our thoughts further since the last time we talked about it.
So, straight into the subject matter. This system does not use dice. Most RPGs do. Instead, we allow players and GMs to decide together when you succeed and fail. The GM decides when the players face a challenge that their characters must succeed or fail at, and the players then decide whether they are going to succeed using one of their limited number of traits that they can use to succeed, or whether they're going to fail, thus conserving those successes for later, and if they've already used any up, earning some of them back to use again.
What this means, among other things, is there's straight up no randomization used in the system whatsoever. This is not to say that there's no randomization that will ever touch the game.
Mm-hmm.
There is the possibility, for instance, for adventures to have a random chance of certain things happening. There's the possibility for like a convention-style adventure. So instead of everyone who's going through the same adventure being able to literally compare notes and to say, what did you do in room 3? Your room 3 might be totally different from someone else's room 3 because there are 4 different ones presented, each with a 25% chance of showing up. But in the core system, there's no dice, cards, poker chips, coin flips, other forms of randomization involved at all.
And if we do present randomization, there will always be a non-random option, because one of the things we were going for is taking out randomness. And the other thing we were going for here is just focusing on building a narrative together rather than a more building a narrative as the game rather than the sort of tactical and tending to focus on combat and action exclusively that comes up in some games.
In a lot of games, there's a strict divide between the important story scenes and the important combat scenes, or even the unimportant combat scenes. This is true of both digital games and tabletop games. In digital games, let's look at the Final Fantasy series, for an example. There's a major feeling disconnect between the random battles and even the story-important battles and the cutscenes and the wandering around the world scenes. This is a thing that does translate into a lot of modern games as well. There's a huge mechanical disconnect between the classic 5 to 6 second combat round and the freewheeling open world, sort of real-time but not really socializing and exploration scenes. Whereas if you flip over to other forms of narrative, if you flip over to books, comic books for instance, or novels, or films, or plays, everything happens with the appropriate amount of narrative time compression. None of it is compressed because of a system.
There is the same medium throughout. If you're watching a movie, you're not suddenly not watching a movie but playing a video game in almost all cases, although there are a few strange outliers there, like the video games where you're usually watching a movie but sometimes actually playing a video game. Some people have accused recent installments in the Metal Gear Solid franchise, for example, of this. But this segs nicely into what we are doing with this system, which is we are using a narrative-focused system. So this is not a simulation of reality. There is no one-to-one correlation between a trait on your character sheet that is used for success and a certain amount of things you accomplish in the real world.
And there never will be. Don't look for it. Don't try to force it. That is an actual straight-up developer command. If you try to force a correlation between a character...
You probably won't have very much fun with it, because it's not designed for that. It's sort of a game-based thing, because obviously this is a game, but it's mostly based around the story. So what you are looking for with success and failure in this game is what the players are looking to do. When the GM says, this is a challenge, you need to either succeed or fail at it, the GM and the players should talk through what the consequences of success or failure will be. This is a very big difference from most RPGs. In most RPGs, the players are forbidden from knowing the results of their actions.
Now, they can guess.
Until they do succeed or fail.
They can guess. There's things like, if I fail at my jump roll to get over the chasm, am I likely to fall or am I likely to catch myself? And
there will be times, and like the players generally get to know generalities, like if I succeed at the knowledge check, I will get some useful information. But because there's that randomness, and to prevent cheating and metagame cheating by using out-of-character knowledge, the players are not supposed to know exactly what they're getting. It's a certain shape of box, but you're not supposed to open the box until you roll high enough to open the box.
If I succeed at the gather information check, I will discover exactly the secret password and the location of the secret lair. If I fail, I get nothing.
And this is the kind of thing that you need to actually discuss with the players in the course of running the Downbelow RPG, because if the players fail, that is supposed to advance the story also, because they are choosing to do this. They are giving the GM the opportunity to describe some situation where their characters get beat up or fail to find out the information or don't get there in time, and therefore something interesting in the story happens. So no matter whether success or failure is chosen, the players and GM should have an interesting story experience.
So as a side note, as we're wrapping up for this first one, a couple of things. First off, next time we're going to talk about how do you get these successes and failures. This will include a look at characters, the anatomy of characters, the creation of characters, and a look at NPCs. The second thing that I'm going to mention now, and we'll go into more detail about this in 2 installments, because you'll have to know what the character looks like to fully understand this. Not all successes or all failures are created equal. This is actually a key part of the negotiation process to see, I want to succeed using this type of success, what will that get me versus this other type of success. Similarly, some failures are less failful than others.
And that is a key reason why, as mentioned earlier, this game does not simulate any kind of one-to-one reality. It is purely a system of give and take in the narrative, which models the kind of story where characters have some triumphs, but also get beat on somewhat.
The last thing I'm going to mention before we sign off for the day is you'll notice that we haven't made any mention of the GM making decisions here. This is because literally all success or failure decisions are firmly in the hands of the player. The GM is the coordinator and the scene setter, not actually the active player in determining agency. All agency is in the hands of the players.
There's a very clear distinction of the GM tells the players when there is a challenge that needs to be succeeded or failed at, and the players decide whether they do succeed or fail.
And while this doesn't mean the GM is devoid of agency, it does mean their agency looks different. But we're almost out of time for now, so until next time, I'm Steve.
I'm Ian, and thank you for falling through the cracks with us. We'll see you next time down below.